Hi, my name is Katie Alexander, and I'm the Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent in Webster County.
I'm Amanda Dane, the Family and Consumer Science Extension Agent in McLean County. And today we're going to be talking about the history of pasta. We're going to be talking about the ingredients, how to make it, the different varieties and shapes of pasta. We're going to be talking about making wise choices when eating pasta. And then lastly, we're going to be discussing a little bit about alternatives and low-carb choices you can make when eating pasta. So I have a question for you all. Where do you think pasta originated? So your choices are China, Italy, or Greece. The answer is really we're not for sure where it originated. The history of pasta is hard to trace because it was not a uniquely remarkable food. The word pasta translates to paste in Italian. While we most commonly refer to pasta as being from Italian origins, it is widely believed that it is actually originated in Asia. Some say it was brought to Italy by Marco Polo, but no hard documentation exists to prove this. Pasta tends to be used to refer to noodles or Italian origin, while noodles is used for those dishes of European or Asian nature like lo mein and dumplings.
Of course, buying dried pasta in a box from the store is, of course, the easiest and most inexpensive route to go. But you can also make pasta at home, either with eggs or without. And today we're going to demonstrate making a pasta with eggs, and we're going to cut it into spaghetti noodles. The key to homemade pasta is the pulling and stretching of the pasta to get the right amount of gluten in the pasta that you want, and of course rolling it thinner and thinner before you cut it, which you can cut it by using an attachment to your stand mixer or a pasta cutter, or your basic just pizza cutter or pastry cutter will also cut pasta as well. So you can make it very inexpensively and easy at home. Pasta is made with just flour and then either eggs or water. And if it's eggless, of course, you just use water. Sometimes you can use olive oil or salt. This, we are just using an all-purpose flour. You can use whole wheat flour to make whole wheat pasta. And you can also use a different type of flour called semolina, which is it makes a tougher dough, which is basically used by professionals, not in your in-home kitchen. You'll use what you have, which is all-purpose flour. And so we've whisked 3 eggs together here, and then you take 2 cups of all-purpose sifted flour. You just sift it in there with your eggs, and then once it's all together, you have your 2 cups, you mix it together and you form a dough. And you'll knead it a little bit until it's smooth, and then wrap it in some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for either at least 15 minutes up to 2 hours before you bring it out and pat it out into a dish shape. It can still be a little thick because we're going to run it through our attachment to our stand mixer. It's the easiest way to do. You could also, if you have a rolling pin, just roll it out really thin with your rolling pin. So with the attachment, we have just the roller attachment, pasta attachment for our stand mixer. We're going to put it on the 2 setting for the speed, and you'll have it opened at your widest, which is on 1. So all you do is you turn it on 2 and put your pasta. Oh, that goes. It'll take it a minute to come through because it is kind of thick. And kind of help work out, thin it out a little bit as it comes out. And it was a little thick because it's bunched up, but we're going to run it through a couple more times. Alright. And then, but the first time you run it through, and then you're going to fold it over end to end. So it's going to do end here, and this end, and then run it back through on its widest setting. It's going to help thin it out just a little bit, so it'll go through the roller. There we go. And once it goes, it'll go kind of quick once the thinner it gets. There we go. So that was once with it folded end to end, and then we're going to go through 2 more times on the widest setting to help continue to thin it out. And then one more time. I think that's what's going to do. And then we're going to adjust and make it a little bit thinner, so we're going to move it to 4, and that decreases the width in here, so when we put it through, it'll make it thinner and ready to cut into noodles. It helps if you have some height. And this one batch will make a serving for at least 4 people. So, and all it is flour and eggs, so it's inexpensive too, it just takes a little bit of time. Alright, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that's our pasta, which now you could cut with a pizza cutter or a pastry cutter. Alright, like we said, you don't have to have the attachments to a stand mixer. If you roll it out with your rolling pin thin, then you can cut it with a pizza cutter, or if you do have a pastry cutter to make little designs, or you can cut it through just a pasta maker that just sits on your counter that you have to hand crank, so it's going to use a little more muscle, but cooking can be a workout. But we're going to cut this pasta to show you that you can make the bow tie really easy. You're just going to cut it down in a strip and then cut a little bit here, however big you want your bow ties to be, and you squeeze it in the middle, and you have the little bow tie pastas just like you buy. You could leave it just in a wider strip to do fettuccine, and cut it just in squares, however you want to do it. So you can do all that by hand, but we are going to cut some spaghetti with the attachment to our stand mixer just to show you. Okay, so we're going to take our pasta that we rolled through and thinned out, and we've attached our spaghetti attachment to our stand mixer, and again we're going to turn it on 2, and you're going to feed it through, and it's going to cut it. And then, of course, when you make pasta with flour and everything, it is a raw product, so you do not want to eat raw pasta. You can cook it fresh like this. It can go right into the boiling salt water to boil it, or you can dry it, which You can buy what is called a pasta drying rack. You could make, so like I said, you can put it straight into your boiling water to cook it as fresh pasta. It only takes 2 to 3 minutes. Or you can lay it over this is called a pasta drying rack. It's where you lay it just to kind of get it up off of everything so it will dry, and then you can store it. You can freeze it or put it in the refrigerator. This, as you see, it comes out really, really long. So we're going to cut some of this so it'll hang better. And then just be sure to kind of pull it apart so your pasta doesn't stick. And then you let it dry, like we said, to have your dried pasta. And then you can always cut it if you want your noodles a little bit shorter. Okay, once you've made pasta, fresh pasta can be stored in the refrigerator for 1 week, or you can freeze it for up to 1 month, or of course you can eat it right away. And then of course if you buy pasta in the store, the shelf-stable pasta is good for 1 to 2 years. And when you do have your dried pasta or shelf-stable pasta, it's good if you put it in an airtight container that's got a good seal, and you can store it like that to be sure no air gets in. And then, of course, if you have leftover cooked pasta, it can be stored up to 5 days in the refrigerator, and then it needs to be thrown out. On your leftover pasta, you want to store your noodles and your sauce separate if they're not already combined, because your noodles will continue to absorb that pasta and the spices flavor the longer it sits together. So it's better if you can store them separate. So cooking pasta is pretty easy. You just have to boil some water, and of course you want to add salt to your water, and then you're going to boil fresh pasta. Is only going to take 2 to 3 minutes, and then of course if you use dried pasta or your store-bought pasta, usually it's about 9 to 11 minutes, but it'll tell you on the package how long. You can also do it to your taste. Most people do it to an al dente, to where it's, you know, soft but still has a little bit of toughness to it. That way it's not really, really soft and breaks apart once you get it out of the water and put your sauce on it. So we've got our boiling water, and we are going to put some fresh pasta in. And like I said, it's only going to take about 2 to 3 minutes to cook. So you let it boil, and then of course when you get it out, you can serve it with your pasta sauce, which would be a meat sauce, tomato sauce, your cream-based sauces like Alfredo sauce. You could also just serve it plain with butter and Parmesan cheese, which several people like that way too. So it's really something you can use in many different dishes, and many different people will like it, and it's inexpensive and can go far to feed a lot of people.
One of the reasons that pasta is so popular might be because it is so versatile, and it comes in a variety of shapes and sizes. This pasta is gnocchi, and it is a potato-based pasta. This pasta is farfalle, or more commonly known as bow ties, and it really works well in cold pasta salads.
And this one's fettuccine. It's like a spaghetti noodle, except it's a little bit wider.
And over here we have orecchiette, which is an ear-like shaped noodle. And then we have the ditalini, which is a tubular shape, and it's great for soups. Then we have rotini, which is a spiral shape, which are great for salads. And we have rigatoni, which is another tubular-like shape, and they're larger, which is great for meat sauces. And then lastly we have the orzo, which is shaped like rice. Now we're going to talk a little bit about making wise choices when you are eating pastas. So keep in mind that when you go out to eat or you're eating at home, a a recommended size, portion size for pasta is half a cup, and this is half a cup of pasta right here. And so you can make that healthier by choosing whole wheat, or now they are making vegetable spaghetti and just different types. So just look at the ingredients and look at the food labels to kind of see which is healthier for you. And when you're also choosing sauces, if you have a marinara sauce that typically is lower calorie than your fettuccine sauces or creamier sauces. And then also think about your ingredients. If you're out to eat or making those choices in the grocery store, if you have lean meats such as chicken or fish, those are healthier options. And then also think about your cheeses if you're adding cheese to it. So when you're thinking about your choices and then what you're adding with your noodles. You can also have some low carb alternatives that you can mix and match, or just solely have these. So here we have spaghetti squash. It has been cooked in the microwave, but you can cook it in the oven or your electric pressure cookers. And we have cooked this, and all you really do is you scrape out the middle. Try not to get all your noodles out. You get those seeds out, and then you just take a fork and it shreds and makes noodles. So you can use this as an alternative, or you can use just the spaghetti squash itself. And then also another choice are zoodles. I'm not sure if you've heard of these before, but it's a tool that you can purchase just about anywhere. And I've made some here, and this is just a zucchini, and you can do this with any type of squash. And you just put it on there and you twist, and they come out. And this you can cook or not cook. So this is good for cold salads, or you can cook it up and eat it with your spaghetti squash or other noodles. I'm Amanda Dame.
And I'm Katie Alexander, and we hope you enjoyed our video today about pasta. If you have any questions or want recipes, you can visit your local cooperative extension office.